everyone, so this video is going to be a comparison between the MAC Studio Fix and the Australis Fresh and Flawless. So I asked you guys in a previous video if you wanted to see a comparison, and a lot of you said yes, so I figured I would do this video, so keep watching if you're interested. So both of these being pressed foundations, they're going to mattify your look, give you a little bit of extra coverage if you decide to put it over foundation, or just give you a bit of coverage if you want to use it on its own. So that's basically what a pressed powder is, and both of these do that exact same thing. Personally, I use pressed powders to set my BB creams or foundation just because I prefer a really matte look, so that's what I use them for, but they also provide a little bit of extra coverage as well, which is always nice. So the main reason I think that people would consider buying the Australis over the MAC is mainly because of the price difference. So I mean, of course you would choose MAC over Australis if it was cheaper, but the price difference is very, very different between these two. You probably already have some idea. So the MAC one is $49 here in Australia. Of course, I think you can get it online a bit cheaper, but including shipping rates, I mean, MAC is just expensive in general. We know that. So then the Australis one is only $8 to $12. So full price is $11.40, I think, but you can get them on like 20% off when Australis has sales on, and so it makes it like around $8. I've bought them for like $8 before. So huge price difference, and I suppose this comparison is going to try and be like, do you have to spend that much money to get a good pressed powder, or can you just buy the Australis one and it do the job? So that's what I'm going to be comparing. So let's talk packaging. Obviously they look pretty similar. They're both a round shape with black packaging, only the Australis one is a shiny plastic and the MAC one is its usual matte plastic. So obviously the MAC one came before Australis, so Australis definitely heavily inspired its packaging from the MAC one, I think, and so they're pretty much similar. If you turn them over, they both have the same sort of labels on them and the same sort of back that has these little grooves in them, if you can see that. So they're pretty much the same sort of packaging, and then they open up the same way by clicking them open, and then the product and a mirror are opened with it. So very similar packaging. Even this little underneath part opens on the Australis one, just as all MAC products do. So as far as packaging is concerned, they are very similar, and packaging isn't really important in this sort of comparison if you're just worried about the product and how the product performs. But if you are concerned about packaging, no need to worry because they are very similar. Both of them come with a sponge applicator underneath that little flap, but I actually don't use sponge to apply it. I'll move on to brushes a little bit later, but I don't use a sponge, so I can't really compare the sponges, but I mean, a sponge is a sponge, I suppose. So shade range is very important, just because if you can't find a shade of the foundation to match your skin tone, then obviously you can't use it. So the only disappointing thing about the Australis powder is that it only comes in 3 different colors. So I have the lightest color, which is natural, but then I think, and it suits me perfectly even when I'm tanning, it's a pretty dark color. So if you're really pale, this is probably maybe a little bit too light for you. Actually, I'm not sure if I have the medium color or the lightest color, but I have a feeling I have the lightest color because I always choose the lightest color. So if you are very pale, this probably won't come in your color, just because if this is the lightest color, it's fairly dark. But the MAC ones, as you would all know, go by the traditional MAC color system. So I have C3 here, but they have NC and NW colors depending on your undertone and color. So I think MAC is definitely a winner when it comes to the shade selection, because they have so many to match your undertones and your coloring. But Australis, if you can find a color that matches your skin tone, definitely go for it and definitely take advantage of that, because you just save so much money. If we're comparing availability, then of course Australis is 100 times better because you can buy it basically everywhere. I mean, supermarkets have it, Kmart, Target, Priceline, chemists, like basically everywhere stocks Australis, so you can definitely get your hands on this anywhere. Whereas MAC, the really only place that you can buy it is a MAC counter or a MAC store or MAC online. So there are very limited places that you can buy the MAC one. So of course, if we're going by availability, then Australis is a lot better. They are such similar products, it's actually crazy. If you do compare the coloring, then they are a little bit different, but once applied, they do the exact same job. They look the same, they have the same feel and texture of them on your face. They're not, like the Australis one isn't chalky, which you would expect a cheaper product to be, and the MAC ones are always praised for being very lightweight and not chalky, but Australis does the exact same job. And the other benefit is that you can catch the Australis one on sale. As you probably would know, MAC never has sales, which it would be great if they did, but they don't. So you're always going to have to pay full price for the MAC one, whereas the Australis one you can definitely catch on a sale for $8, and I mean that is ridiculously cheap for any sort of makeup product. So on my face I can't actually find a difference between the actual powders themselves, so they feel the exact same on my face, and I really can't notice the difference between the actual product. The only slight difference is that the packaging is a bit different, but the packaging is really unimportant. The brush that I use to apply pressed powders is the Real Techniques blush brush. So it's actually designed for blush, but I find it really, really handy with the shape of it when getting like underneath your eyes and sort of in next to your nose and sort of small spaces like that. It's really great for, and of course it's really soft, really dense, and it picks up products super well. So I love applying pressed foundations with this, and of course, you know, it picks up the product on both the Australis and the MAC one the same. Okay, so we've come to the end of our comparison, and obviously I think we can tell who the winner is going to be. It is definitely Australis for me, most definitely Australis, just because it is such great value for money. Even though you get a little more product in the MAC one, the Australis one is so much cheaper. It's just crazy how cheap it is. The product has absolutely no difference between them. The only thing is that the color selection, if you can't find a color from the Australis range, then you might have to go to MAC because they do have a large color selection. But if you can make an Australis color work for you, then go with it. Definitely save a lot of money and go for the Australis one, because the packaging is similar, the product has no difference between it. The staying power and the mattifying sort of qualities of it are identical. So I think we know who the winner is in this comparison, and that is the Australis one. If you're someone who can't really understand comparisons if I'm just talking and you prefer to read, then I definitely recommend going and checking out my blog comparison, because I compare the two foundations, pressed foundations, and I think it might be a little more clearer for you to read if you're more of a reader than listener. So definitely go check that out if you prefer reading than listening, because you might find it a little more easy to understand. So I hope you all found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll talk to you really soon in my next video. Bye everyone.